Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience, where we discuss ways where we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. I'm Ken Bader, your host for Branding the Experience, also the founder of Bader Training and Consulting, and the author of the book, The Formula for Business Success Equals B plus C plus S. And boy, did I have a great interview a couple days ago with the owner and founder of Absolution Brewing Company, who really understands the alignment of the brand, the culture, and the strategy. He shows us in the interview, which we're about to run, how you can not only build a great brand and have a quality product, but also have a lot of fun doing it. So let's listen into Nigel Heath and the interview. My apologies ahead of time for the hum in the background with the equipment for the brewing, but we couldn't lose that shot of the great experience in the back in the tap room of people enjoying a lot of great Absolution beer. But here's the interview. Hope you enjoy it. I'm here with Nigel Heath, the owner and founder of Absolution Brewing Company, and we're going to talk about how he brands the experience with some great craft beer. Nigel, welcome to the show.
Ken, good to see you.
Great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So, my first question, and I'm sure the first question the audience really wants to know about is, why beer? You could have started all kinds of different businesses. Why beer?
Man, you really have to ask that. What do I get to do all day?
Cheers.
Make a great product, and I get to taste every one of our products before we're put on the market. I mean, what other profession can you have fun whilst creating a business and creating a great brand?
Right.
Nothing parallels it.
Well, being a beer drinker myself, and obviously having tried your beer more than once now, we'll turn this around to make sure we get the Absolution logo in there. Yeah, I can honestly say that this is an awesome beer. One of the things, cheers. One of the things, because you can't say cheers and then not drink afterwards. But one of the things that I truly love about your beer is that it doesn't slap you in the face at the end. It has a really, really nice, smooth finish. You talk a little bit about the quality of the product and what you do to make your particular product stand out.
Sure. Great question. Well, as the audience can probably tell, I'm not born and bred here, even though I'm definitely an American now. But the English are actually, can I do this on camera? Are weaned on ale. So I grew up really enjoying fresh, handmade, artisan beer. So 4 simple ingredients: water, grain, yeast, and hops. No chemicals, no additives. So when I came to the States, it was always a dream to replicate some of those old 17th, 18th century English ale techniques using 21st century American product. So what Absolution's all about is a natural food product made with those 4 ingredients only: water, grain, yeast, and hops, and using the best on the planet. So throughout all of our beers, the characteristic smoothness that you referred to, a lot of that comes from a barley called Maris Otter. It's the most expensive barley on the planet.
Wow.
It's not the cheapest way to make beer, but you can taste it throughout. And a lot of beers we use Maris Otter on the ingredients, and then you see it says 1%.
Right. Just
so they can put it on there. But we use it throughout all of our product, and the consumer can tell.
Right. No, I certainly can tell as well. And from that standpoint, I even know the 4 ingredients that you said, and I know nothing about brewing beer, but getting to the brand, because one of the things we always talk about on Branding the Experience is creating an environment where your employees actually want to come to work and your customers want to keep coming back. And I have no doubt that your customers want to keep coming back to this beer. But one of the things that really intrigued me about your brand and your business is you talk on your website about how you just have a fun group of guys that are, using my words, not your words, that, they're a little crazy, maybe a little goofy, but they just, have fun and enjoy brewing beer. Talk to me a little bit about the culture and the people that you brought into this business.
Sure. Yeah, great question. So I come from the corporate world originally. I started life as a computer programmer. back in the homeland. And the corporate world is nothing like the beer industry. And as I said earlier, having fun is what it's all about. So we're making a premium mainstream product. So quality, consistency is absolutely essential. But hey, you can have a load of fun while doing that. So my head brewer has been in the industry for 21 years.
Wow.
Has built breweries literally from Alaska to Cabo, literally. So he's seen it all, done it. And he wanted a resting home that was fun. He's worked for big brewers, the corporate brewers, and it's just another job. And then my partner Steve was in the beer industry in San Diego, and he's a really good beer salesman. My brewer's a really good brewer, and I know how to run a business and scale a business from small to large.
Right.
We're the 3 points of the triangle, quite different as characters.
But characters nonetheless.
Characters nonetheless. and the rest of the team, we are one big family. All the staff, we meet every week over lunch, real casual in the bar. Everybody puts on the table what's working, what's not working. I really, culture we try and create, I think we've created successfully is all encompassing. Obviously, not everybody can have a decision-making role in every decision, otherwise we'd never get anywhere. But within reason, so all the assistant brewers, even the temporary crew on the packaging line, they all get a say on a Thursday at our staff meeting, what's working, what we should do different, or the boss stinks or whatever. They're free to say it without recrimination. No, I'm.
and I'm going to go out on a limb and say there might be a little bit of this at some of those meetings.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it probably doesn't really affect their decision. They get as much beer as they like to drink. No, they don't.
Well, if somebody doesn't agree with your decision, you can always say, well, have one more of these, and maybe it'll look better. Well, let's get back to the branding and one of the traditional elements, the logo, and the name. Because I love the name Absolution, and I love the logo, which is here in back of us. Tell me a little bit about how you created that name and that logo, because there is a story behind it.
Absolutely, yeah. No, another great question. So when we started setting the brewery up about 4.5 years ago, LA was really a wasteland in terms of craft beer. 1 in 25 pints was craft. The other 24 were yellow fizzy. No names.
Yeah.
And the whole craft bubble that really started on the West Coast in San Diego leapfrogged LA and missed it and landed in San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego had the highest concentration of craft, which was about 14-15%. LA less than 4. San Francisco, Portland, Seattle 10 to 12. So those numbers really demonstrate second largest city in the land. Big disposable income, no craft to speak of.
Right.
My partner Steve is from this area, grew up in this area, moved to San Diego latterly, but really wanted to come back to this area. And we sat down with all of the city councils in the area, and Torrance was the only city council that actively said, we want to build a beer industry. So that was a real thumbs up.
I knew I liked Torrance.
Yeah. They got past the memo on to the inspectors, but
a whole other story.
But the theory was good. No, kidding aside, I mean, Torrance is great because it's a high standard, so you're not going to get any fly-by-night come in. When you're dealing with big industrial, equipment, you don't want a steam boiler not properly installed.
Right.
So. We've had good existence in Torrance. The brew scene in Torrance now is the largest. Is known, as a hub, certainly in LA, and a lot of innovative new beer product. The nice thing for the consumer is it's not all the same.
Right.
So even with all these breweries, we're all actually creating something.
And
different.
You've got something for everybody. Like for instance, as we talked about earlier, while all your beer is great, there are some that are just more to my palate than somebody else's.
Yeah, we have one of the biggest spectrums around.
Right.
I'll come back to that. Let's answer your question because
Sure.
I haven't answered it yet on the logo, but that was and the name was all part of the background. So we started looking at the three of us came together, what we call the brewery, we had ambitions ultimately for more than just Torrance,
right?
Other states, and see some announcements from us soon in terms of distribution in other states, even all the way to the East Coast, and also export, so non-US markets, which is great news for a US. It's not that many years ago that US beer was not taken seriously. There's no way that we'd be looking at major export markets for craft beer from the US,
right.
but we really are now. People are clamoring for craft beer from this area,
absolutely,
which is a massive statement. So we didn't want a name that was geographic, Torrance Brewery LLC.
Right.
It needed to transport across cultures and geographies, but the main theme behind the name was, and it sounds really twee now, as a branding guy, I'm sure you're going to go, ugh. But we were absolving with an A-B, absolving Angelinos from drinking nasty yellow stuff.
Right.
So that's where the name actually started. That's where the core, the seed was.
Right.
And as we developed it and did our market research, we're going, wow, this really has something with that very small market share of craft 4 years ago.
And tell me a little bit about the nail in the logo.
Sure, yeah. So we started working with that name, Absolution, and you can draw whatever you think from the nail, but the nail, steel, iron, if you look back, it really has always been a symbol of hard work and determination. Be it pounding that nail or the initial forging of the nail. So as we were developing, and my wife's an amateur artist, as much she doesn't get paid.
Well, she's more than amateur because I like the look of the logo.
I don't know if your viewers are going to get to see, but on the wall behind us, part covered down by our mill room, but there's a 40-foot long, 20-foot high rendition of this that she hand painted on the wall. We stuck on a scissor lift and said, "Hurry up, honey, you can have a beer when you're done."
I'm sure she loved that.
and she was up there for 5 days on a scissor lift,
wow.
painting that logo when we
5 days straight, or
up and down each day. I think we let her down at night.
Okay, yeah. Good. I'm glad to hear.
We gave her a beer and said, "Go again." So, but yeah, so she came up with a theme, and it's resonated ever since. And some you can read into it. A religious hint, if you wish. The seating in the tap room here is all old reused church pews, but it's tongue in cheek. All the beer names have a slight affiliation to that, with our Purgatory and our Cardinal Sin,
right.
our Holy Cow, and our Penance.
Being from Chicago, I know a little bit about Holy Cow.
Yeah.
But as a branding expert, I love the story. Because I think a lot of times, and this is great for our entrepreneurs and the folks that are starting businesses, is what you said is perfect in that instead of just putting Torrance Brewing Company on there, which would be fine, there's an actual story behind it, and people want to hear those stories. They want to know about those stories, and it ties them emotionally a little bit more to the brand. Yeah. Speaking of other entrepreneurs out there, having been in business in a few different industries, what's maybe the number one thing that you would suggest, or a piece of advice that you would give to somebody, whether they're starting a beer business or a software company or a wig company for that matter? What's the one piece of advice you would give them?
Get more money. Next.
Good point.
No, kidding aside, finance. I mean, we all done it. I've started a number of startup businesses. This is my third, fourth, and it always takes more than you planned. So even with the best laid out plans, and I think I got fairly good at it, over the years, then cash flow can kill a business.
Yes.
You can be profitable, you can have a great product, but basically if you don't have the means to continue to execute, and as hopefully the game gets bigger for you and the quantums get bigger, I don't know how much of the brewery your viewers can see, but my grain now is in a silo in the background here, which is 30,000 pounds at a time. Right. Whereas I used to buy it in 55-pound bags. Well, the check every time that gets filled, you can imagine what that costs.
So do you enjoy signing that one?
So it's fun signing it because it means we're succeeding.
You know what it means.
But at the same time, Yeah, I mean, without being, you know, coy or twee, you know,
Right.
take whatever numbers you think are your worst case and then add some, because
Yeah, well, as myself and a lot of my colleagues that do a lot of consulting, we talk about the fact that cash flow is really the blood of the business. It's that ever important liquid.
Right.
And the other ever important liquid is beer. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to go back to drinking it.
Cheers.
And I'm going to thank you for an awesome interview. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, Nigel.
Appreciate it. Good to meet you.
Take care.
Cheers.
So what can we learn from that? Well, as always, I'm sure we can learn a number of things, but I want you to always leave with at least one key idea. And I think the idea here goes back to my foundation that I'm passionate about, which is brand, culture, strategy alignment. That you can create a great brand, that you can create a strategy for a really quality product, and from a culture standpoint, have a lot of fun doing it. I got a chance to talk to a few people at Absolution, and everybody really enjoyed working there, and really was having a good time producing some great craft beer, and making sure that they stayed true to their brand in terms of providing a quality product and providing a great experience. You weren't really able to see it as much from the interview, but the folks that were coming into the tap room were folks that have come in multiple times, and you could see the interaction between the customers and the staff, especially Nigel. It was as if Nigel was welcoming everybody as part of his own family as they walked in. So thank you for joining me today. And here's hoping that your brand and your product is an experience that's at a very high level. Take care.